Hi, everyone. It is Mia Claire, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I am every day. These interviews are truly just a joy for me, in part because they typically start 15 minutes before I even go live. So I get a chance to connect with all the people that I talk with. So we are warmed up and ready to go. These interviews are to support the upcoming events that we have coming up. The Light Up event, which is October 23rd, starting at 5 p.m. And I'm excited that we have just the practitioners we have coming to this event are ridiculous. They are so amazing, so open hearted, so good that you're not going to want to miss out. And today is no exception. We're going to be talking with Ruth Jossart, who is a psychic medium. And I've known Ruth, gosh, I want to say we maybe met 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
then COVID. And then we just, went our own path for a little while, but we reconnected recently. And I am delighted to have you on today, Ruth. Thank you for joining me for this interview.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm just as excited as you are. I'm sure as everybody else is too, but the reconnection is just genuine and beautiful. So it's just really great to be here. Thanks.
Wow. And it is. We had so much fun just kind of, I think we could talk all day.
Yes.
And the goal of these little interviews is so that you who are, if you're thinking about, or if you've already got your ticket for the Light Up event, again, it's this Sunday. There's still tickets available, so you can sign up. But it's for you to get to know the practitioners and get to know the people that are coming together to create the container of this event, because even though I am coordinating, I am not doing this alone. Everyone who has said yes to being a part of this, from the people who are helping with the ticketing to the practitioners, we are co-creating an amazing space for you to come and just be loved up and get the support you need and to light up, which is the goal. So, Ruth, I'd love for everybody to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do. And if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit of that.
I would love to. I will also advocate this event, Nia. I've been with you on this journey for a few years now, and I'll never forget the first time I met you. It was at one of your 10 wings at Unity, and it was just so lovely and healing for me. So, really helping me along my journey. And the topic was about setting boundaries versus intentions. And just, you helped
Right.
me kind of say, let's use intentions and not boundaries. And I still use that every day of my life.
Oh,
So,
I'm glad.
yeah. So, my journey does start kind of around the time yours does. I actually had a reading by someone who told me I should be reading her. And I went, don't know what you mean by that. And so I kind of walked away feeling very validated, and that set me on this journey. I am so grateful for the connection that I have with spirit, the connection that I have doing my mediumship, my psychic, with guides and angels. And every time I read someone or have a journey with someone, and they bring in a loved one, I've just connected twofold with people, right? So it's just an amazing gift to help people heal, help them along their journey, and just help them sort of find their place in this world. And like you said, really release some energy that they
Yeah.
feel like they, have to carry when they don't. And so, yeah, I connect in with spirit, I connect in with guides, I connect in with source. We just talk a little bit about the journey and what you're looking for. And then we just pull in those who've crossed and have a little chat. So, yeah, it's great.
Oh, I love that. And I think when you think about a lot of people have ideas about what mediumship is and
Yeah.
about what being a psychic is. And it almost goes to these stereotypical, I'm a madam, where are your scarves, Ruth? Where are all the jewelry, all of those things.
Yep.
But I'm curious to know, how do you explain what you do to somebody who has never, you know, en- engaged this way before?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question. I do what I call a lot of first time people, right?
Hmm.
And so when I'm connecting in, I start out by explaining to them what is a spirit guide. what
Mhm.
is an angel? What does my energy look like? Here's how I read. Here's how I connect. Not everybody does it exactly the same. And for psychic, it's really about, we all have journeys and we struggle. And
Yeah.
so, what kinds of situations are you looking for a little bit extra help with, right? What
Mhm.
do you want to know about? Nobody can tell the future, but in present moment, we can give you some guidance on how to kind of move forward and through the situation. So when I'm working, in that, I call that kind of 3D living, right?
Yeah.
Mediumship uses all that same energy.
Yeah.
If you have someone you want to connect into, I'm very, very careful and very, very, I always try very hard to ensure that I validate that the person that we're looking for is the person.
Yeah.
And so I just talk to people about using all that same energy. But when those folks come in, I'm able to know that it's them, because to me, their energy is a little heavier. And that
Mm.
means they've spent time here on earth. And so the energy is
Yeah.
just very different for me. I primarily hear, but man, they'll do anything they want to do to get their point across.
Get
So
your
you need
attention,
me
right?
to feel, you need me to taste, we'll just go down that line.
Yeah.
So just taking some care to ensure that the person that I'm working with feels comfortable. I also let everybody know I'm healer. So
Mhm.
always letting go of that energy, give me that stuff that doesn't belong, bringing in the archangels when we need to do that, and connecting in that way as well. So yeah, it's all about them. It's
Yeah.
about, if they're open to receiving, I guarantee you'll receive and we'll connect in. It's quite lovely. So
I think that's so powerful, and I think it's very daunting for people. Sometimes it's their faith or how they grew up, or um, the fact that we go to these stereotypical
right.
ideas of what is going to happen, or and usually I'm like, it's mostly like a conversation with somebody, like it's just a delightful conversation.
Yeah, it is.
And
Go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
no, go ahead. The very first time I saw a psychic when I started
Mhm.
on this journey, I was the old school. You get to know my name and that's it, and then we'll see, right?
Right, right. We'll see if you get it.
Yeah, she kind of looked at me and said a few things, and all of a sudden I'm crying, because it's all about that. I felt very validated in
Yeah.
my journey and the things that were coming through. And I'll never forget, she said to me at the time, she said, "You're very supported." And I kind of looked at her, my thought, and she looked at me, she goes, "Not here, up there." And I went,
Mhm.
"Oh." And so we talked about that a little bit more too. And she just really helped me heal on my journey. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're all about. If we compare our energy to others, then we're more focused on us. But when we don't do that, and
Yeah.
we just make it all about the client and the loved one and the situation, the experience is just so enlightening. It's great. Yeah.
I love
It's,
that. And
yep.
I think the other piece in that, and I love how you put that. So thank
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
because I in the work that I do,
Mhm.
as a channel, I that's exactly it. It's like, how do I be of service without needing to be heavily involved in this? I
Right.
can't be 100% removed, but how do I allow my stories, my information to come in and need to shape what my experience is?
Right.
Especially because, I mean, I will say I've had moments where I've had people's loved ones come through,
Yep.
and I'm just floored. I'm like,
Mhm.
there's somebody
Mhm.
here. I describe what I'm picking up, and I'm just as skeptical. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, that's Uncle so and so, and da da
Yeah.
da. What?
Isn't that astounding? Because
I know, right?
you're sitting there and you're kind of like trying to, it's like the telephone game for me. And I'm listening and I'm like, "You really want me to say that?" Right. And so I say it and they're like, "Yeah." I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, "Oh, don't edit, right? Just
Right. Don't
say
edit.
what comes through, because it really is about them. It's really, we're just here planting seeds and
That's right.
watching them grow, throwing a little
Yeah.
water on there, and,
I love that. And being and allowing yourself to develop into such a clear channel for that for those messages to come
Right.
through.
Mhm.
It takes practice, and it takes
It
practice
does.
in, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, Ruth. You may never have
Mhm.
experienced this, but when you do a reading and afterwards you're like, oh, that did not like I got involved. I'm like, oh, it kind
Mhm.
of feels sticky. It feels
Mhm.
funny. And it's one of those things that I often say, like, you can't learn how to do this work. You can't learn how to be good at your craft by just thinking about it. You have
Right.
to kind of go in and goof up and
Yeah.
not like
Mhm.
how things go to
Yep.
learn how to do it.
And I was, there's a lot of people going through their awakening and a lot of people that are coming into gifts, right? And they
Mhm.
say, well, how do you do that? How do I practice that? It's practice. That's why we call it practice.
That's
So
right.
it is about finding your like-minded peeps. It's about a BFF. It's about anybody that you can sit with and work with cards or have that engagement. And like you said, when it doesn't go exactly the right way, you're looking at the person and their faces, and you're kind of like, yeah, well, that didn't feel good. And I always tell people hold that in your DNA
Yeah.
too, because when you start to have your intuition go down that path, you can
Yeah.
check that and pull it back, ask a different question, and then move into something different. So
Yeah.
you're right. It is about that balance of knowing what doesn't go so well and then complementing that and then course correcting and getting back on track. So,
Yes.
yeah. Lots and lots of readings over the past, 2 to 3 years, and lots of people who I just adore who come,
Yeah.
frequently. I always get that question too, like, "Okay, how soon can I call you again?" And I'm like,
Right.
Tomorrow if you want," because spirit always has something to say, right?
Yes.
So, I always take care to not go back and repeat because that's not a good use of time, but
Right.
it's like talking to your best friend. It's like, today something's going on and tomorrow
Yeah.
it could change. And so, whatever makes you feel good and healthy, that's where you should take the lead, right?
I
Using
love that.
intuition. So, mhm.
It's true. I think you're 100% right. And that um it's funny. Like, I think people, once you kind of tap into it, once you start to make that connection, there is a desire to want to know more. I can't even tell you. There's never been a time I've had a psychic reading and I mostly do mediumship readings where I'm talking. My father passed a few years ago, or my great grandmother, or
Yep.
other beings,
Mhm.
where that has come through, and it always feels like in the moment it's the richest, most luxurious conversation. I'm getting all the information. I'm in it, and afterwards I think, oh, I should have asked that. I should have asked that. I should have
Right.
asked that. And it's this
Mhm.
feeling of like, what I've learned is that comes when I feel like I've actually made a very real, authentic connection.
Yep.
You
What I
know,
like to tell people too is, my style of reading is give me 2 to 3 to 5, even if you have 15, give me the top, right?
yep,
They're all connected. We get to all of it, and you'll leave feeling really complete. And
yes,
then when you start to think and reflect and grow, then come back around and, what's the next thing, right?
right.
And always to be in present moment. Always,
Mhm.
always, and take that present moment and go forward. Another thing I like to tell people is don't hang on to the one thing, right?
Right,
It's
right.
sad and it didn't have, it is about that, right? It is about just present moment. This is the
Mhm.
energy, and this is some hints on how you can move forward with that. And yeah, I am just, yeah, so pleased and grateful for all that we do together, all of us collectively.
Yeah,
Planting these seeds and moving this world into a place where we
yes.
can continue on this journey because our little ones coming in behind us, they're going to need a clear path for us. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think they're blazing a whole new trail. I've been thinking about that. I'm like, I have 2 littles, and you've got grandchildren.
Yep.
They the things that we grew up having, it's almost, I joke around, but I it's not really a joke. My kids are impervious to
Yeah.
guilt and shame. Like they got none of it. Like I grew up in that. I grew up with like, hey,
Right.
guilt
Yeah.
motivated me. Shame would get me to get in alignment with what both of my kids have this kind of drive in inner connection to who they are
Yep.
that is unshakable. And I just sit back and I go, I don't want to mess that up.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
you
I
know,
I don't think we can.
I don't
They're
either.
coming in enlightened, and like you said, they don't have the challenges that we had,
Yeah.
growing up and, having to learn. Now they just know. And I
Mhm.
always tell people, and, when you're dealing with children who are in that, enlightenment, it's never challenge what they know. Always solidify and say, I know you know, but, and so how does that make you feel? Tell me a little
Right.
bit more about that, right? Because now we're opening them up even for that experience without judgment. And the parents and the kids need that, and they need a
Right.
level of conversation to, no matter how little, have that sort of interaction in a very non-judgmental, supportive way. So
100%. I love
yes.
that. And I'm so glad that, people are going to get a chance to connect with you, meet with you, interact with you at the event. And so, just so everyone knows, if you haven't been to the Light Up event before, the first hour, we have three healers and three readers who are there, and they're going to do as many little mini connection points. I would guess it's probably going to be like a one question kind of reading,
Yep.
um, that you can connect. And I've been calling, I'm like, this is the amuse bouche to what you could do with each one of these people. And so it's going to give you a flavor, it's going to give you a sense of who they are, and hopefully give you a chance to connect and have an experience. So Ruth, what do you think your sessions will be like at the event?
So I do think it'll be, sit down with me. We'll, quickly clear. We'll cycle some energy. I always tell people, think of a big paddle boat, with the water going down and the stuff coming in. That's good. Ask your question. We'll connect in, and we'll get right there. So
I
I
love
might
that.
ask you a question back, but it's just because we need to connect really quickly and move on. I've done a events before where it's just a quick, 10-minute in and out. Question is, how can you do that? How can you stop one and do the other? I don't do it.
Right, exactly.
They do it, right? So
Right.
they're the ones helping me connect in with you. And the job, their job, your job is just to receive. Be
Yes.
open and receive. And the experience is just loving and healing and enlightening. So it's
Oh,
just
I love that.
receiving. Yeah.
And I think that's really true. And it's not easy for some people. Like when you first start, because again, there's that like prove it to me,
Yeah.
feeling guarded. But
Mhm.
I will just say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, the I think what we're I think it's getting harder and harder to stay kind of blocked in that way,
Yeah.
because our curiosity is inviting us to um, be willing to be in that like uncertain place that
Right.
we want to hold tight. And then the other piece that's happening is uh, we have a deep need to be in connection, not just with each other physically, but to feel that connection and with spirit, with or that higher self or whatever. And understand, for those of you who are listening, I just want to put this out there, and I'm not there are a lot of ways to talk about these experiences. There's a lot of ways to talk about awakening, enlightenment, clarity, coming back to your whole self, being your natural self. There's lots of ways to talk about this. Ultimately, I think what we're talking about is similar things, which is knowing that the way I love to always say is understanding that you're divine,
Yep.
understanding that there's no mistake in you being you.
Mhm.
You are perfect. There's a perfection in each one of us.
Yep.
And however we come to that,
Yep.
that's good. So you'll hear a lot of different words from people, from teachers, we're all just speaking with what resonates
Right.
with the people that we serve, the people that we are teaching and connecting with, because those are the words that resonate with them, that help them go, oh, I found my person, or I found the teacher, I found the way into that. And I think that's just so important.
It's important for people to take the time to examine what they're looking for, right? I do a lot of shows, and I'm, someone could walk by me and I know immediately they're not vibrating, or someone can
Yep.
walk in the door and go, oh, they're for me, right? Because
Right.
it's that you're taking the time to feel, that
Yep.
vibration and that connection. So trust that connection, right? And don't, again, if when we make it about you all,
Right.
that's when the beautiful connection happens, right?
That's right.
So it is about you asking some, I'm always, do you have any, can I answer any questions, right? And
Yeah.
if you don't have a reading by me, I just planted a little seed to get you to open up
That's
a
right.
little bit and for you to go find someone that matches you, and you can get what you need out of the experience that you're looking for. um, the other thing that comes in about that is a lot of about 2022 is a 6 year, right?
Yeah.
Six numerically is about relationship. But most importantly, it's about your relationship with you,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's about how do you feel about who you are and telling yourself your truth. And so if you're nervous about that, admit it to your guides
Right.
and your angels, right? Just be really honest with this throat chakra here. And just open up to whatever the possibility is around the guidance that you're looking for. And they'll show you the way. They'll show you the path. So
I love that. It's so true. I mean, I it's hard to believe, and I know there are many people out there that would be shocked. But when I first started doing this work, my I couldn't speak when I first started receiving messages. I literally would sit there and have an experience, and I could not bring it forward
mm,
because I was so afraid. I was
yeah.
so afraid of what that would mean.
Mhm.
First of all, then I'd have to be like, okay, now I've got to talk about it. I don't want to do that, right? And
Right.
so I just shut it down. And
Yeah.
it took a good year of me practicing
Mhm.
and saying things. I'd be in Reiki groups
Mhm.
doing group sessions with people, and things that would come up, I'd be like, not saying that,
Yep.
not talking about it. And
Yep.
then somebody would say something, I'm like, okay, now I got to talk about it. Darn
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Exactly.
but
Yeah. I think we are all, on our own journey. And
mhm,
um, I, if there's billions of people in this world and I match with a million of them, I'm golden,
yeah,
right? I mean, when you think about that, if I match
yeah,
with 100 of them, I'm golden.
that's
I'm
right.
doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
And it is really about just accepting that truth and your truth,
yeah,
and allowing for the experience just to kind of come right over you like a blanket of love. It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Well,
So,
and that's exactly it. And I love I when I first met you, I your energy and compassion and heart and warmth. You have a warmth about you. And I
thank
know that, COVID took us all out of being in person with each other,
Yep.
but, we don't need to be in person always to do this work. You were even saying most of your work now is over the phone. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, I mean, we get readings too. So I had a reading and it was, kind of around the end of 2021 actually. And this person said to me, you have to start doing readings by email and phone. And I'm like, no, I don't know how I would ever do that. I'm not emailing because email, the word is just open for too much interpretation.
Yes.
But, I started doing some phone readings because I couldn't connect with people out of state. And I'm like, this just works the same. It is
Yeah.
just very cool. I read people in Geneva, Switzerland. I mean, how
Yeah.
do you even like do that without trusting spirit and trusting your guides to come in and just really, come in and show you the way. So,
That's right.
yeah, I have the same type of experience the first time I connected with someone who had crossed over. I mean, it's quite a hilarious story, but
You
I
tell. We want to
couldn't
hear.
believe it. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Yeah, it was very much like that movie Ghost, right?
Uh-huh.
And I had connected in with a coworker whose husband had passed. She wanted a tarot reading quickly, and I must have just been bringing him in because I kept thinking about this person and thinking about this person. And one night I'm, 2 a.m. in the morning, laying in bed, listening, and all of a sudden I'm hearing this tone, and I'm like, so I get up and I'm running all over. Where is this coming from? Is my son's game on? An
Right.
alarm, is a TV. I lay back down and I hear this tone again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it sounds like a cell phone. And I just heard this voice say, well, answer it, and I'm like, hello, you know, I pick up a phone, and there he is, and he starts talking, and it's him, and I'm like, wow, that's what this is.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was just an amazing experience. So we get all done, we write some stuff down, we lay back down, all of a sudden all these cell phones start going off. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, click, end of the bedtime, like that's going by, it was
Yeah.
great. It was great. So
That's
yeah,
I just think to me I think there should just be a whole show just based on people's stories of what they've because
seriously,
there are things you cannot if you don't do this or and you think what is up why are we so happy and delighted to do this because literally it is hilarious
it is.
most of the time the things that come there and you're like I could not have made this up
Yep,
if I
yep,
tried
yep.
and it's delightful
It
when
is.
we allow and when we're in that energy and I love that you shared that that's just great
Yeah, it
'cause
was just like, wow, okay, I got this. I could do this. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
that's awesome.
Oh, well, I am so excited you're gonna be a part of this.
Me too. Thank you.
We're and that we get to reconnect. This is so
I know.
fun. And if you haven't yet, everybody, please get your tickets for the light up on October 23rd. We have also added another date. If you weren't aware, I will be posting about this, but on November 20th, we're going to do this. And then we're taking a break in December, and I'm working on the plan for 2023. Believe it or not, there seems to be an interest. So we're going to stick with it.
That's great.
Uh, Ruth, you are a delight. And I feel honored to know you. I feel delighted to know you. And I'm glad we were able to share this with so many people. I want to thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for reaching out. It was great. All of a sudden, you're following me on Facebook. I'm like, oh, there she is. So, yeah,
So
what a
good.
great connection. Right back at you. It's all good.
Wonderful. And you guys, if you want to meet with Ruth, if you need to get in touch with her, if you're not local, I will be posting her information in the feed so you'll be able to get that and feel free to reach out to her. You don't if you can't make the light up, that's not the only way to reach Ruth. So you want to reach out to her. She does phone readings. You can connect with her and I recommend her highly. She's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you. I
And
recommend, Nia, you're a great channeler and your journey is amazing in and of itself. So thank you for all the work that you're doing to connect all of this. And these light up events are just, I just get goosebumps. So everybody come and see Nia too. It's all great.
thank you. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun. And if I only like to do things repeatedly that are fun. So that's my rule. Well, thank you, my dear, and thank you. I'm deeply honored. And
Thank
we
you.
will see you on Sunday, and hopefully we'll see you guys on Sunday again. I'm going to just point out you can get your tickets right there. And thanks so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.